Well, with that approval expected soon, it actually already happened in Canada yesterday. A lot of parents have questions. They're not sure, is the vaccine right for their child? And joining us live right now to answer some common questions that you might have if you're a parent is our good friend and pediatrician, Dr. Candice Jones. Good to see you, Dr. Jones. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me this morning.
So you're a mom, so I know you look at this probably not only as a doctor, but as a parent as well. What would you say to parents who might have some trepidation about this?
You know, kids are definitely an important part of ending this pandemic, especially getting them back to their activities, getting them back to school safely. Kids now make up about 20% or more of all COVID cases, and that has steadily increased. So we have to include our children in this vaccine process. And so now I'm so excited that my son will get the vaccine. He's 12, and I feel so much better about him going back to school this fall after he receives the vaccine. So I think it's good enough for me and my children, and so I definitely will be recommending it to my patients in that age group.
Dr. Jones, I know, the pushback that you would get from somebody would be kids don't get it very often. Kids don't get it that bad. Those types of things that you hear. I personally have a friend who has a 14-year-old son who got it and is a long hauler. Rare, right? But it does happen.
Thank you for sharing that, because that's been an ongoing piece of misinformation. As I said, increasing rates in children up to now 22% of all COVID cases. So kids do get this infection. Yes, most of them fare well, but we now have long COVID kids, just as you mentioned. Some kids have died and many have had severe illness and been hospitalized. So, you don't know if it's going to be your child or not. And so definitely we need to do what we can to protect our children as well as ourselves.
I want to talk a little bit too about, the booster shots, the potential that this could be something that we might come back to every year, sort of like we do with the flu shot. But I always think it's a good comparison when we talk about the effectiveness of the flu shot versus this particular shot. There's a big difference.
That's a great point. In this particular age group, the study showed 100% efficacy, and that's huge. We don't get that with any vaccines. So knowing that your child will get this vaccine and it will protect them and help them to survive if they get COVID. Also knowing that it showed great immune response and that protection. If it has to be yearly, that remains to be seen. I will take it, and we'll work on that down the pipeline. But for right now, in the midst of this pandemic, we need to do what we can to end it and to keep us all safe.
Well, Dr. Jones, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You take care. All right.